watching from in Australia, around the world, across all our platforms, whether it be YouTube, Discord, Facebook. Welcome to the RSRA Super 2 E-Series for round 2 at Watkins Glen, East Coast up in upstate New York. And we're here for the DSL Welding Triple Crown. Joining me tonight in the booth, my name's Matt Davis, alongside the man himself, the voice of Tuesday Night Motorsport, also the voice of the GSRC, Zach Cabot. Mate, thank you for joining me once again in the booth. It's good to have you back, and I bet the viewers have been hanging to hear your witty comments and witty commentary, no doubt about that. Mate, how are you tonight, and what are we looking forward to the most tonight?
I'm not sure what viewers you've been surveying, Matt Davis, but I'll take it as a compliment. Good evening to you. Good evening to everybody. Mate, if it's anything like last night when we had the top tier at this same venue, we are in for something special. Nice to be back with you. Hi, everybody. And, of course, I'm here next week as well. To be honest, Matt, you couldn't pick two better circuits at the top end of the season for me to be in the booth on both nights of the week, namely Watkins Glen this week and Laguna Seca next week. What a recipe.
A recipe for disaster or a recipe for a good recipe? We're going to have to find out. Last night proved to be action-packed racing, a lot of strategy in last night's race and some close panel rubbing action. Definitely between Dylan Rudd and Rainer Costello, no doubt, for the top two spots there, and quite a few shake-ups in the post-race as well, if you're tuning into last night's stream.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight, though, it is all about the Super 2 E-Series, and we're at Watkins Glen, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty and get you up some track notes to see what it is all about around here. Not the usual layout. We're at the bootleg tonight, so they're taking the long way around. They're not taking the little shortcut down the back straight there. They're taking the long way. 5.47 kilometres in length, 30 laps, 164.1 kilometres in race distance, and a pit lane limit of 72 kilometres an hour. And talking about pit lane, we'll get to that one shortly, Zach, because it's a bit of a stir-up at the moment with race control cracking down on that. 52.8 litres of fuel on board for these drivers tonight in the Super 2 E-Series. 2 pit stops, 4.08 litres of fuel burn, mind you, and 2 tyre limits, sets of tyres. So tyres they start on, and then 1 set of tyres for their pit stops. When they choose to take them, it is entirely to them. And the pit lane window tonight, ladies and gentlemen, there's quite a few numbers that have been thrown around in the pre-race chat between Zach, myself, and JP. You can either do the 13-13 or you can even go a 9-18. It is entirely up to them what they're going to do. So stay tuned to see what's going to happen there. Race conditions, track conditions, 30th of June, 2021. Race start is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I know, Zach, you mentioned last night it was about a 3 a.m. start for us over here at Woodby, and we're glad that we're not going to be doing that one.
Oh,
but
yeah.
The air temp is 30 degrees, but the big astonishing one, mate, 56 degrees out on track for these drivers. That is absolutely scorching hot. 15-kilometre wind speed in a northwesterly direction. Track temperature, though, Zach, blimey.
Yeah, that's not the sort of track temperature you'd want to put bare feet onto. I mean, that is very, very stiflingly warm, no doubt about that. But, I mean, it didn't seem to affect the run of play last night. Most of the guys that spoke to us in the post-race show said tyre wear wasn't a problem for them, which seems surprising to me, given exactly how hot the track was. Because remember, we're playing with the same conditions that we had last night. So the boys that had their wits about them here might be on holidays, work break, in lockdown, whatever the case may be. They would have been tuning in last night to see exactly how the top tier play, and that might come to serve them well tonight.
I did see a few comments get thrown around on the Discord this morning, Zach, as well. And ladies and gentlemen, that a few of these Super 2 E-Series drivers were watching out on the drivers from the Super Series, the main tier on Tuesday Night Motorsport. And they definitely said they took on a lot of information that not only the podium were able to put out in the post-race show, but also what they did out on track by what they saw on the stream. So we'll have to see how these guys handle it tonight. I know for a fact that hot tracks and a V8 supercar and these Dunlop slicks do not play hand in hand. And a track like Watkins Glen, a lot of heavy braking zones, a lot of curve or trail braking through it, so a lot of chances for a locked front inside left or right tyre. So that's going to play havoc on them as we've got a few cars off track and slowing down already in qualifying and trying to get out of the way, no doubt, or maybe just lighting them up a little bit too much, ladies and gentlemen. But round one is out of the way, Zach, so obviously going into round one last week there was no championship points, but ladies and gentlemen, this week we've got the official championship points for you to have a look at, and look at that pole position last week, or not should I say pole, but our race winner Jamie Davis sitting nice and comfortably out on top, 150 points. David Nash 148, and Hayden Smythe or Smith, we're going to be having a debate with that one all night,
depending upon which school you went to.
That's it. Hopefully we can get him back into the booth tonight to ask him the correct pronunciation of his last name. It is sitting down there in third, 146 points. Benny Siren on 144. Tony Gaffer, 142. Craig Casper, Anthony Bisma with a stellar race last week. Robbie Bradbury, Adam Moore, and Jonathan Bain rounding out your top 10. And not too many post-race penalties last week, which was good. There wasn't much of a shake-up, so the points are as goes. Peter Kelly, Stephen Martin, Shane Clark, Nathan Clive, Mark Turner, Jason Schooler, Brian Good, Scotty Short, Scott Barton, and Simon Valorant, top 20 there. We'll let those ones play out for you there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Zach, I mentioned pit lane before with the pit lane limit. Not something these guys have to worry about, the pit lane speed limit. They've got the limiter set on these supercars, but one thing they've got to watch out is for race control looking over pit lane and the infringements. We noticed last week that quite a few of them got picked up, and last night there were 10 penalties handed out for pit lane infringements. That's going to be a big talking point and a big thing to watch out on this race.
Mate, I'm glad you were keeping count, because I lost bloody count last night. I mean, that was astonishing. Some of it seemed like every 30 seconds there was the message coming up saying so-and-so's got a drive-through. And it wasn't just the first round of pit stops, it was the second as well. You would have thought the drivers had learned from the first round, but there was one driver that copped it for both runs through pit lane. Just astonishing. But race control are clamping down, because it is something that you couldn't get away with in the real world, so why should you get away with it in the sim world? This whole making it as realistic as possible, and it's something that the race control have really been cracking down on. It's really good to see. So instead of being able to drive through every single pit bay along the right-hand side, as it is here at Watkins Glen, as you head down to your pit box, you're only allowed to overlap with the pit box before your trouble here on track in qualifying. That won't go down well. Race control have a bit of a sense of humour failure about that one, but yeah, you're only allowed to overlap with the pit box before yours. So you can't go driving across 2 or 3 beforehand. And that's where everyone got caught out last night as well as last week. Now, other interesting points out of last night that are well worth being mindful of for tonight. Overtaking opportunities. There are quite a few around the Watkins Glen circuit. Executing them is the difficult part in all of that. The run into the bus stop is a particular hotspot for overtaking. Not that I like using the keyword hotspot at the moment, but it is one of the main areas where overtaking will be executed this evening. Last night I mentioned that we had 1/100th of a second between first and second in the battle for pole position. Tonight it's 200ths of a second, if you don't mind, between Simon Vella and Hayden Smythe. Last week's race winner is sitting 6th at the moment. We also mentioned last night that the top 30 and the top split were separated by less than a second. Here, the numbers aren't as extraordinary, but it is the top 14 separated by less than a second. So all of that bodes well for an entertaining night at the office over 30 laps. Now, you were talking about fuel numbers and everything else. We were crunching them here. One strategy that I think we might see play out is I was going to say 10, 10, and 10, because that is doable. But then you look at something like, what did I say? We can get 12 laps to a stint, 13 laps to a stint. So maybe you might see someone go for 13 and then go for 5 or 6 and then come in and try and get the undercut on everyone on the second pit stop, but take those new tyres early and try and make rain while the sun shines. We'll wait and see. We'll try and follow that with interest. But there's 4 or 5 different strategies that could play out tonight, based on the fact that the fuel limit is so free in terms of everyone's going to have to stop twice. It's just a matter of when, unless you get 2 or 3 safety cars and long safety cars, not like that one lap we saw last night, Matt. where that only saved 1 lap in the first stint. Rehan Leonage tried to go as long as he could, hoping that he'd get another safety car, that he would be able to turn it into a one-stop race. Luck didn't fall his way. I doubt it will again tonight when you look at the fact that we've got our own internal safety car. So if we can get it cleaned up in 1 lap, we will, and send everybody on their way again. So the maximum you're going to get out of a stint is 13 if you're going gangbusters hard. Therefore, 13:26 splash and dash at the end. I don't think too many people will wait that long for the final stop to all the way to 26, but it does give us a lot more flexibility than other racetracks we go to as to when your number is lap 18, because that'll give you 12 laps to get home and then 1 lap to get back to pit lane. Now, we remember last night our race winner got pinged post-race because he couldn't get back to pit lane under his own steam. So all of that to watch out for tonight, and so much more, mate. I'm looking forward to it.
And I'm looking forward to it as well. That's 000s on the qualifying board as well, ladies and gentlemen. So that's qualifying done and dusted. Last drivers just coming in off the track now. And just quickly, Zach, you did mention Rehan Leonage went for the long stint, and it actually paid dividends for him. He ended up bagging himself his first podium for the season 2 this year. So
what was different about him? What was different about him, mate, too, is that unlike some, he went for fresh rubber in the first stop. Now, it's not the favoured strategy based on what you see from most of the drivers, but last night it worked for young Rehan, and then he got the penalty for Tommy Heyman. He got the penalty for Dylan Rudd. It worked into his advantage. So we'll wait and see tonight. I'm interested to see if anyone was paying attention to Rehan and decides, okay, yep, we'll take tyres first stop as well, or whether they go back to the status quo, which is what's bagged Rainer Costello so much success recently, and that is tyres second stop. A lot to play out, a lot of different gameplay and strategy, and that's what makes our job so much more enjoyable.
And it's going to be one to watch. We'll see what's going to happen tonight. The drivers are gridding up on the field, and Zach, I saw you adapted to the tag team on the drivers readout. So you know what? I'm going to bring you into this one, mate. We'll see if you can read out some drivers' names. I'll read off the first 12 on the list, and then we shall go from there. Leading you off from pole position tonight, ladies and gentlemen, David Nash with a flying lap. Simon Vella off row 1 there. Row 2, Hayden Smith. Hayden Smythe, we'll find out which one it is. And Troy Allen off row 2 there. Row 3 will be Shane Clark, Jamie Davis. Row 4, Benny Siren, Justin Pennyfather, a newcomer to the series. Brian Good, Scotty Barton off row 5. Robbie Bradbury and Stephen Martin off row 6.
Just on David Nash for a minute, he put 2/10 on the pack with his last flying lap, something that was a complete oversight by all of us, but he's got nearly 2/10 on the pack, biggest pole margin of the week at Watkins Glen. So, Jonathan Ben is there in position number 13 alongside Tony Gaffer. Then we go back to Bruce Tamnock and, of course, Kyle Zink. That's row 8. Will Jesberg and Adam Moore is row 9. Stephen Banks and Craig Casper from row 10. Anthony Visma and Stead Miller from row 11. And row 12 is Blair Van Ree and Robert Brower.
Row 13, Justin Score, Jonathan Nikolaev. Row 14, Peter Kelly, Daniel Schultz. Row 15, Nathan Clive, Alex Schuler. Row 16, David Leslie, Mark Turner. 17, we'll see Tommy Foster and Andrew Johnson leave from there. Gary Crittenden and Darren Robb will leave from row... I messed up my numbers there. And then you got Scotty Short and Simon Barrington and Craig Curry with our safety car driver, Craig Schultz, in the amazing looking Simshed broadcast.
Here we go.
Porsche Cup car there, but the drivers are ready. The revs are rising, the lights are up, and they're round 2 for the RSRA at Watkins Glen for the bootleggers underway with David Nash on a flying start. Gets onto the racing line straight away, no one finding him for position.
Trouble at the back.
And he's already got trouble at the back. Is this going to bring out a safety car? David Nash has already gapped the field by 8 car lengths off the start, and he's going to get himself a lovely run the straight. Up the straight for the back straight for the first time. The drivers go to come into what they call the inner loop, the outer loop, but we call it the bus stop here. Turn 5, A and B and C. I don't know why the Yanks decided to call that, Zach, but we'll eventually figure it out. Into the outer loop they go for the first time. Down into the chute to come into the bootleg. The 9-5 boys all over the back of the Century Motorsports team already. Covers the inside line nice and defensively. Benny Siren it is. And he's all over the back of Robbie Bradbury. David Nash hasn't gone away too far now. Simon Fowler was able to catch up to him. But he's leading nice and comfortably as they come down into the hill. Turn 8 for the first time. Single file, they're all sorted themselves out. No safety car as of yet. So that incident on turn 1 looks like it's sorted itself out. They were able to get underway. Actually, looks like they've slowed up a fair bit there, Zach. So we might actually have a first lap safety car after all. No, they're still underway. Their cars are still squirming.
No, we're okay. We're good.
We're good.
What I walked up, there was one car up against, pressed up against the pit wall on the run down to turn 1. That was what caught my eye. But whatever it was, they've been able.
Just lost Zach Kamen there very, very briefly. Zach Kamen's got the ultimate NDN problems. On the lap 2 we go. The U-pick, you've got the U-pick problem, isn't ya? 2 wide going up towards the back straight, don't mind you. Zig and Zag and fighting for position up the back straight. Can they get the toe? Into the bus stop they come. Number 123, who might that be on my screen? I'm trying to find the number briefly. Bruce Tannock, that is. Fighting it out with Jonathan Bain. I should know the livery because he showed it to me before we got underway with this season. That chrome purple stands out like from a mile away. I thought the chrome blue stood out, but the purple, Jesus, that stands out. And them Sirens made the move on Bradbury up into turn 7. The toe, as they want to call it. Down the boot they come, into turn 8.
Have a look at curb cam. How good's that, Matty Davids?
I'm missing half these curb cams at the moment, Zach, because there's so much going on track. I'm trying to find out what's going on the timing screen as well, just to fill everybody in. But another thing to note, we're only on lap 2. We know it is yellow and red the whole way from first position right all the way down to the back of the field, nearly, Zach.
Absolutely. And the top 3 remain status quo as they were off the start line 2 laps ago. Nash, Vella, Smythe, 1, 2, 3 to turn 1. Clark, Davison behind them. Then Troy Allen. And then Justin Penefather is there in position number 7. Then you go back to Brian Good, Ben Siren and Robbie Bradbury. The biggest winner off the start, you've got to go all the way down to 19th to find Robert Brower in the 006. He's gained 5 positions thus far. But even further afield, Thomas Foster and Scott Short have both gained 8 positions, up to 25th and 29th.
Already a few hard shoulders. Andrew Johnson as well, up 4 positions from the A1 boys. He's had a cracking start. The biggest losers, though, Craig Casper, Will Yesberg, and Peter Kelly down 14, 20, and 12 positions. So, couple big losers off the start already, Zach. And by the looks of it, these guys have just deciding to play single fire a little bit. There's a little bit of tossing and turning in the background there as they come through 6th. But looks like they're going to be playing the long game here, trying to just work on the slipstream, knowing that the slipstream up the back straight into the bus stop is going to be a key position here, as we've got Benny Siren having a look up on the inside of, sorry, Brian Good, my apologies. I'm too far scrolled down on the timer screen. Shane Clark, though, 1:49.38, fastest lap of the race.
Just one other thing too, we didn't mention earlier. Simon Farrington was the other name sitting there at the bottom of the leaderboard. Both he and Peter Kelly have been in for over 1 minute pit stops early on in the race. Will Jesberg was in for 30 seconds. You mentioned Jesberg and Kelly because they both dropped considerably down the order. Barrington remains where he started, though, in 38th position. Down on the inside, Clark getting the job done. No, holding Davis at bay at the moment and trying to find a way by Smythe as well. It's not working for him just yet. Have a look at them come up through turns 2 and 3. We often see a lot of carnage here in NASCAR Cup races, but thankfully so far, the Super 2 E-Series boys have kept it clean. We're on lap 4. David Nash, the leader. Have a look at Davies all over the back of Clark. Down the back straight into the stop. And yet again, it remains status quo. Davies tucks in behind with Allen then trying to latch onto the back and catch a tow here. But Clark, the fastest over the race, 149.
Big talking point as well for Shane Clark from last week, Zach, is he copped a pit lane infringement. He was fastest in qualifying, set himself up on pole. Unfortunately, forgot about the no escape rule. Now, for those that are following at home, for the rules in the RSRA, the no escape rule means, well, in iRacing, you can take a cheap way out into the pit lane. As Jamie Davis has a look around the outside of Shane Clark coming into 9. That's not going to benefit him, though. That's going to put Shane Clark in the inside there, but that's Jonathan. No, not Jonathan Bain. Peter Kelly around in the Goodyear Auto Care Warana V8 Supercar. So Peter Kelly 1 lap down.
He's dropped all the way down to 39.
But big talking point was Shane Clark. Copped the pit lane infringement, the penalty, or the pit lane start, I should say, after qualifying pole last week around Montreal. And then had himself a cracking race. Got all the way back up, fighting for the lead again. And then copped himself a pit lane infringement. So he's going to be out tonight to rectify his bad race last week. Jamie Davis, obviously race winner of last week, he's going to be wanting to get up onto pole position. So he's going to make some dying moves. But the going back down the order, I noticed Craig Casper was down there. Oh, Jamie Davis and Shane Clark coming in. Jonathan Bain's in the mix now as well at the checkup. Good save by Clark. Oh, Troy Allen, my apologies.
Wow. The fireworks have been let off early here. And that's Clark holding on to 4th position. Davis trying to get down on the inside of Allen and keep him at bay. Let's have a look at the replay now. The Goodyear Auto Care Warana replay for it. They made their way up towards turn 4. This was done. Arguing over the same piece of real estate. Allen then had a tremendous opportunity to take advantage of this, but was unable to in the end. And then a little bit of hip and shoulder, and then a case of trying to get 2 cars into a part of the real estate that you just could not. Met with a little bit of hip and shoulder. Davis on Clark. And in the end, mate, yes, they gathered it up, but race control is still probably out. And it was interesting too, because you notice the car on the inside get a little bit wobbly, going across the curb and clipping a bit of grass as well, Matt. And that is all it takes.
It is all it takes through that bus stop. And there was a little bit of daylight as well in between Clark and Davis. So a little bit of net code maybe, but nevertheless, by the looks of what our camera angles were, regardless of net code or not, he was still going to be collecting Clark. Good recovery though by Clark to be able to save that from going into the grass, into no man's land, and then into the fence. And good race etiquette as well by Jamie Davis to readdress that position. But here they are again. They're on. Jamie Davis around the outside, puts him on the inside for the bus stop. Squeezes Shane Clark wide. That gives Shane Clark the inside into the loop. But Jamie Davis with the drive around the outside gets the move done and does it on Clark. Covers the inside going into turn 6. Runs it quite a little bit. Does this promote Clark to get the drive into turn 7? Has the law. Dives it up the inside. This is going to be a battle all night long. Clark and Davis side by side, up the back, up the boot.
This was the same thing in the top split last night, except it was a couple of positions further up the road, Matty. So this is really good to see. Davis eventually gets the job done, but again, it's a case of you might make a move halfway around the lap, but it might take you till the end of the lap to actually properly consolidate the position, and that's exactly what we saw there from Jamie Davis. Last week's race winner. Let's wait and see what he can do now that he's got a little bit of clear air. 5.4 seconds that juking has cost them, because Nash, Vella and Smythe have skipped clear. They're separated by about 1.2 at the moment, and then they've got 5.7 back to this ongoing great train of cars that covers Davis, Clark, Pennefather, Ben Allen, Good, Siren, Tannock, Bradbury, Martin and Ben. And that's your top.
And that keeps going further down as well. They got Gaffer Moore, Zeke, Bismarck, Miller. You got Braw, Van Ree. It just goes all the way, almost to the back of the field, right down to Daniel Schultz, 28th position, who's 4 seconds behind Alex Schuler. So this freight train is massive, and this is the racing that Watkins Glen produces. The big slipstream doesn't allow drivers to skip away, and we found out last night Costello struggled to actually make up some time around here, especially with the hot track. Up the inside of the bootleg, one of the Dragon RC cars goes John Nikolaev. Up the inside of one of the... John Nikolaev, that would have been up the inside of Jason Schooler. So that's a ballsy move up into the bus stop there. Gets the move done, nice and clean. No. That's for sheep stations. The racing's that action as we've got Nathan Clive up the inside. Doesn't get the move done. So Clive had a look up the inside of Jason, didn't get the move done. He's going to sit back and try and get the slipstream. Car off on the outfield though. Oh, who's that one? That's Claire Van... No, not Claire Van Reed. Moore. We got Adam Moore on the outfield, recovering it there. Lap 8 of 30. The pit window is about to open for lap 9.
The fair check of spots too.
My apologies, Zach. I missed that one. Sorry.
I was going to say that was quite interesting for Moore there. Dropped down to 15th as a result of, well, dropped down to 20th as a result of all of that. And I think now it's settled into 21st, Matt. So that turned out to be quite costly, but we do remain safety car free here. Can you believe it's already lap 8? That's just gone too quickly. Here's Pennefather up on the outside now.
Allen and Pennefather. Allen around the outside of Pennefather.
Yeah, very nicely done. So Pennefather's dropped back into position number 7, and Allen consolidates 6th for the moment. Back to Benny Siren in 9th. All over the back of Brian Good, behind them Bruce Tunnock. Then we go back to Stephen Banks here in position number 21. So the top 21, I mean, the gap is just extraordinarily tight there between 1st and 21st. I mean, less than a sector of this Watkins Glen circuit covering them at the moment. But at the front, status quo for the top 3. In fact, Shane Clark remote. Oh, Crittenden's gone round again. I tell you what, he had a shocker in qualifying. He had 2 crashes within 30 seconds of me putting my eye on him. And here's another one, right out of the playbook. To turn 1 now.
Auto care, we're on a replay. Gary Crittenden into turn 1. Takes a little bit, or not enough curb, I should say. The drivers want to get right out on the other side of that curb.
Wow.
Otherwise, it pig roots the car, and that's what happens. Around goes Gary Crittenden out of turn 1. And that's going to hurt him a lot of damage on that V8 supercar there. But it's all David Nash and Simon Vella out in front at the moment. Nash over Vella by half a second. And back to Hayden Smith, who's 1.5 seconds down from these guys. So Nash with a smooth, clean run so far. Lap 9 of 30, Zach. Pit window is open for these guys to start mixing it up on the pit strategies. We saw last night the only 1 lap on the safety car. That promoted a couple different strategies throughout. If these guys go clean racing, safety car, It's going to really test their brain power and what laps they can pit on. They're going to be hoping for a couple safety cars so they can try and do the one pit stop and try and do the one stopper through the races. Jamie Davis and Shane Clark are still battling it out 3 laps later. Ladies and gentlemen, Davis up the inside of 6.
And holding on to 4th at the moment. Clark tucks in behind. He hasn't been any more than about 2 car lengths away for the last 5 laps. These two continue to duke it out. But as they continue to duke it out, they're starting to lose the front end of the town. They're not going to be able to go with Nash, Feller and Smythe at the moment. And that means that they're going to be starting to cross their fingers and pray for a safety car. We only got one last night. It was lap 1, and maybe that's a recipe of what's to come tonight right here. But we are in that pit window now. Let's see who does what and when as they make their way back onto the stock car circuit here at Watkins Glen. It's Clark in 5th position. They're still being pursued by Allen, but they have got a little bit of a buffer there at the moment. Davis and Clark. You can't take your eyes off this. We'd love to show you what's happening 1, 2, and 3, but how could you take your eyes off this?
It's an action-packed in this series, that's for sure, Zach, and it's your first little insight tonight for the Super 2 series. So we know that you might be able to squeeze in. You won't be able to squeeze in another city, unfortunately, for the series, which is a little bit heartbreaking for myself because you know how much I love sitting next to you.
I'm back next week. I'm back next week.
Oh, well, next week as well. But after that, I think that'll be the last one for this season. So,
correct.
And we know how much I love sitting next to you and screaming down the microphone these drivers for the viewers at home, mind you. But it's the action between these guys is unreal for a Super 2 class. I mean, we had the sectors or the times between split 1 to split 2 was something astonishing. There was next to nothing in it. You could have put a hair through there. That's how close it was between these drivers.
The pedigree is just unbelievable, Matt. And we say it all the time. But look at the front of the field here. Half a second separates Nash and Vella. Vella hasn't looked like challenging Nash all night long until now. He has a little bo peep there as they come down towards turn 9 and tucks back in. However, we've got a fuel race on our hands here. These guys aren't far off their window. We've got a car running out of fuel on the back straight, actually. That's all on the lap traffic, one of the two. So if that's the case, yeah, he's 37th at the moment and already a lap down, so really not in the equation. Peter Kelly, Simon Farrington already a lap down. Craig Schultz, of course, waiting for a run and in the all-new safety car a little bit later on as well. Will Jesberg, 36th, is the last car on the lead lap at this point in time, but he's only a quarter of a lap ahead of these guys. So we wait and see what plays out here in the next short while. Now, there's another interesting point for the benefit of our viewers at home as well. Notice on the timesheet there, you've got sectors 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We've got race control giving us a message as well here.
Pit lane infringement for 959.
So 959's on its way to the line.
Benny Siren with a pit lane infringement.
First one of the night. Keep tabs on that, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, iRacing obviously runs in different sectors to what the real world stuff does. Normally we'd only have 3 sectors. Not this time round.
958.
958 as well. So 959.
So the 295 boys, Zach, both get a pit lane infringement.
Yeah, extraordinary. So Benny Siren's on his way back in, and so too's the 958. That's, I mean, monkey see, monkey do, eh?
They're not having a good run at the moment, the 9.5 boys. You've got the tow truck king at the moment, Sean McNamara, in the Super Series. And then we've got the, obviously, Benny Siren and the 9.5 boys there get the pit lane infringement. So we got the pit lane kings over at the Super 2, and we got the tow truck king in the Super Series. So
that's a very good point you make, because Sean McNamara has been responsible for both safety cars we've had so far this season in the top split. That's actually a very cruel but interesting point you make. Here's David Nash.
If you're listening in, Macca, we apologise for bringing you that one into it, mate. So no harm done. Hopefully, round 3 you're able to get up on the podium and make amends for it. But David Nash still your leader at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Lap 11 of 30 to about a click over to 12 of 30, and this is where we're going to start seeing the drivers dart in for their mandatory pit stop.
Well, already, Shane Clark is the first to jump out of the top 5. He's just coming to pit lane. Brian Good follows him as well. 777 going to come and drive through as well. So Jonathan Ben, so he's on his way into the pit lane now as well for a drive through. So we got the 10 last night. Let's wait and see if we get to 10 tonight. Oh no! Rob. That'll be a safety car. If he can't move it from there, that'll be the safety car that everyone needs. And this brings the game wide open.
Does he get a helping hand?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Let's see what happens when he hits the wall. Car's still running, which is good. Car's still running, but no. Dead on the track we hear. No.
Now he's going. Now he's got it going, but I think it was too late. I think the safety car might have already been called. It's not moving.
Okay. Moving safety car, staying stationary in the lane. So Rob, lucky to get away with that one and not be the cause of the first safety car for round 2 around Watkins Glen tonight. What's David Nash and Simon Valla going to respond with? They know Shane Clark's quick. They know he was on fire last week at Montreal and is a threat to tonight. If he can get the pit strategy right, what are these two going to answer with? Do they dart into pit lane on lap 12 to start 13? Big slide by Valla though. Huge slide.
One more time around for these guys, Matt. They're definitely going to have to stop next time round, though, because as we know, 12.94 laps to a tank if our numbers are absolutely bang on, which they usually are. Jamie Davis jumps now, though. So he's in the window. That's fine. We all know these guys are going to have to stop. Again, it's just a matter of how long you want that last stint to be.
Watch for this one as well, ladies and gentlemen. Jamie Davis and Shane Clark were juicing it out for quite a number of laps. So Davis going for the overcut over Clark to get a bit of a jump, get some clean air and get some breathing room over Clark as well. Clark stuck in traffic. He was buried in traffic when he came out. We don't think he will get him. We'll stay on screen. We've got our producer here, he's JP, clicking the buttons. He's screaming, we'll let you know, we'll let you know.
To be fair,
that means we'll let you know.
To be fair, the margin was 5 seconds last time by the line.
Davis is out.
Before the pit lane started, you know, seeing a lot of activity. This time round, it's a lot tighter. There we go.
Jump. Jamie Davis got the jump over Shane Clark. A little bit of breathing room now for Davis to get the hammer down and to move on and not fight it out. And behold, we got a special guest in the booth, Zaki, our good friend Chris Kisby.
But he's muted at the moment, so when he unmutes himself, we might introduce the Spirit of Tasmania. Good to have him along for the ride tonight. The Army Plus team is back in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Car 34 is going to come and drive through for a pit lane infringement as well. And now, David Nash will surely be heading to pit lane this time. Yes, he is. Here he comes. Here comes Simon Valla into the line. Follow them in as well. So and pit lane, a couple of activity now with the leaders in. Now, it's important to note, they had 5 seconds on the likes of, where are they? Jamie Davis and Shane Clark before they came into the pit lane. And it'll be interesting to see once this first round of pit stops balances out and plays out exactly how big that margin is. Whether these three, by going an extra lap, have been able to extend it, or by virtue of the fact that the boys behind came in a lap earlier, if they've been able to decrease the margin at the front of the field.
We'll have to stay on and have a look. Jamie Davis, Shane Clark just coming up now to the final corners of Watkins Glen, about to jump on the straight. Nash, Valla, Smythe still in their pit boxes, but remember, they're right down the front. David Nash out of the pit, Simon Valla out of his pit box. Hayden not too far away. They're all in the 23s, 22s. They're all out of their pit boxes and underway. And now that the pit lanes, top 13 of all pitted. Mark Turner. Mark Turner still one to pit. And I think now's while we've got a little bit of a break and they're getting tyres up to 10, it's a good time to bring in, well, a big shout out to the A teams finally back together. We finally got the band back together, Zach. And the Spirit of Tasmania has decided to join us on a Wednesday night over from Tuesday Night Motorsport, the voice on Tuesday alongside Zach Caven, Chris Kisby, all the way down south in Tasmania, mate. What are you doing in here?
Look at that. Bit of a surprise for you there, Matty Caven. Yeah, right. Welcome to everybody all over the world and the guys that look at the Dev Series. I just decided to pop in. We've got no up-and-comers this time. We've had a practice there earlier on, and I decided to come in and have a bit of a chin wag with you there, Matt.
Mate, you're always welcome to come in and have a chin wag with, and I'll extend the invite to next week as well. I know we're going to, fingers crossed, to get the 18 back together on the Tuesday night. But you've taken me by surprise here to get the 18 back together on a Wednesday night for our viewers. So thank you very much for popping in. I mean, obviously, the RSRA Super 2 series is brand new to you. You've never been in the booth with us so far. So, I mean, all I can say really is sit back and enjoy the action. It's amazing already. If you've been watching the stream at home down there, Kisby, it's already been action-packed. We've got Jamie Davis, Shane Clark. They're juicing out. They've been juicing out for some laps now as Mark Turner finally makes his mandatory pit stop there, ladies and gentlemen. So that's everybody making their pit stops now. I think the last person to do their pit stop now is Darren Robb. So he's buried all the way down there in 33rd position. But everybody in the field now has made their mandatory first pit stop. As you're on screen now with Bruce Tannen. Zach, I'll let you.
I'll just jump in here and say that was a fairly good opening run from Mark Turner. Scott Short also in at this point in time. And the fact that those guys were able to stretch 14 laps out of their run, it's going to hurt them in the long run because of the fuel saving they had to do to get that extra lap. But however, will they take tyres here and try and make hay while the sun shines? We'll wait and see. The reason it hurt them already is because they were already behind the leaders as they pitted. So, I mean, they made up a lot of ground only to lose it all again.
Well, and now that we've got our technical side of the commentary back in the booth, and I can sort of ask these technical questions to Kisby, because we know he's such an amazing racer. I'm a racer myself, but it's been some time since I've actually had to do a bit of fuel saving. Kisby, with regards to fuel saving, and Zach will be with me on this one because it's a lot of things going on in the fuel saving mode. You sacrifice if you can. We saw Leonard last season do some amazing fuel saving runs. If you can fuel save by still not knocking off enough on your lap time, what's that going to be saving you in the pit lane when you get put up on those jacks?
Well, that can actually save you seconds, because if you've got to put 15 litres in instead of 13 litres, and you save a litre and a half to 2 litres, you can save yourself 2 or 3 seconds in the pit lane, which means that you nullify any undercut or overcut in that particular thing. You're very, very kind saying that I'm a racer. Yeah, I'm a back marker. They call me the speed bump over at the GSRC because they're going past me all the time. But I must tell you, we just did Blind Rock in the MX-5s, and I started in pit lane and won it. So look at that.
He's the back marker, and he ends up winning the race. So there we go. Congratulations.
Well, hey. And it was in the dark. MX-5's in the dark at Lime Rock. Yeah,
hey, nothing wrong with that.
I don't want to do that again.
Nothing wrong with that. I'll tell you what run of Matt Davis laying it on thick with the compliments for Chris Kisby when he walked into the booth tonight as well. In the meantime, he could
make up the call to Craig Casper's try with the floor.
Big slide, massive moment for him, but he gathered it up. He did it all on his own. He loses a little bit of time there to Steve Martin, who's jumped up in all of that. He's the big winner in the pit stop sequence, up into 6th. But that was a big scam for Allen. He gathered it up. He lost a chunk of time, though. And now he's got to contend with Brian Good and Bruce Tannen as we go back to Stephen Banks in 26th position now. So, in the back of all of that, Matt, a heap of drivers agained 6th position. Stephen Martin, Bruce Tannen, Ben Sirens lost 6th. Ted Miller's gained 6th. Blair Van Ray. Also Robert Brower. They've all gained 6. 9 positions gained for Nathan Clive in 20th position. 7 for the number 6 entry from Taipan Esports, of course. That was Anthony Bismarck. Whoa, another big moment there. But a lot of single-digit gains. The biggest gain of the night, however, is Scott Short, 25th position. He's gained 12 spots thus far and still on the charge.
That's how
drivers.
That's how I race. Yeah, sideways. Look at that.
A Jaden Van Gisbergen moment right there. And at the 4.69 there, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Good, privateer of the season. He's driving out there on his own. So another one, open setups. If you've been following from season 1 and the transition into season 2, you know that across the board between the Super RSRA Super Series and the RSRA Super 2 E Series, they are all on open setup, so they have unlimited tuning abilities in these cars before they get out on track. And obviously Brian Good has got to do it the hard way at the moment. Yes, they've got the likes of the VRS setups and the setup shop as well. Quite a number of setup websites to help with setting up these V8 supercars. They're an absolute beast to get around the tracks, especially Watkins Glen. I mean, we know this track's made for the supercars. Jonathan Nikolaev though off in turn 1. Get a good year order, Carolina replay before we get back to what we were talking about. Jonathan Nikolaev, does he get a helping hand here into turn 1, or does he just run himself a little bit wide?
Does it himself.
Does it himself, runs wide, noses into the wall. And luckily enough, it doesn't look like too much damage on the, if not, there's no damage on the front end of that supercar. So just gave that tyre barrier a little bit of a kiss. Lucky enough, car 105, drive through for car contact
Troy
on
Allen.
666.
Wow.
That's almost my proper driving line.
So Troy Allen's gone, been pinged for car contact on the 666, which is well down the order.
David Leslie,
32nd position. So that in that particular instance, Troy Allen, that would have been pit lane traffic, or lap traffic at least, I should say. Lap 18 of 30, the game changed again. Troy Allen, who was contending for a top 6 position, out of business. Benny Sarin is back in. John Ben is back in as well. They are slipping down the order now. It's not known whether that's going to be their second and final stop, or whether that's a penalty or an unscheduled stop of some description. But maybe they're looking at the undercut and looking at going now with, 13 laps, 14 laps they're going to have to get out of that stint, because they're going to have to get the 13 to get them to the checkered flag, and then the 1 to get them back to pit lane as well. Now, Hayden Smith
all over the back of Vella now. David Nash is checked out the front. He's out to a 1.7 second lead, but this has promoted Hayden onto the back of Vella. We said Zach and Chris, or said earlier Zach, Chris, you just joined us. The slipstream up here at Watkins Glen down the back straight is huge, and down the front straight is big as well. So Hayden's fought hard. He's used those Dunlops. By the looks of it, he is on the fresher rubber with how he's made up time against the fella here. So maybe he's taken tyres in the first stop. But we did mention as well, Zach, that drivers can get home from here. Car 420, drive through for pit lane infringement.
We know what that'll be.
That's it. And Kisby, you knew last night, pit lane infringement. They were a big one. I haven't been counting tonight, but I'm sure JP will get us. There we go. Nash and Bella into the pits. Hayden's going to take it out for one more lap. He's going for the undercut.
Now, so that really illustrates your point, doesn't it, Matt? That Hayden probably has taken, and here comes Jamie Davis as well. Hayden's probably taken tyres in the first stop. Now, short-term gain, long-term pain. Does that come back to bite him on lap 30? We wait and see. Here's Robert Brower in 15th in the meantime. Kisby.
It'll depend on how he's able to handle the car later on in the race, as you say. And I considered very hard whether I was going to have a run in this season, but looking at these times, I think I'll give it a miss. But if I ever win or get in the top 3 of up-and-comers and my Wednesday nights become free, I'll be really giving it a good, serious thought about coming over and having a drive in this one. They look amazing.
Definitely come and have a drive, mate. Obviously, wait till season 3 while we get the pre-qualifying out of it. Anthony Bismo goes to the pit lane. That was a pit lane penalty before. Stephen Banks, though, into the wall with a hard collision. Goodyear Autocare, we're on a replay for you, ladies and gentlemen, of this incident. And that does not look pretty. And by the looks of it, it is his own undoing. Just too much coming out of the corner. into the wall he comes, out on track, doesn't stop.
Oh, jeez. How lucky
And
can you
a bit
get?
of net cone on that one by the looks of it, because he's just sped up. All of a sudden, his boot's gone vanished. So the pit crew obviously out on track for him. And just whoosh goes the rear.
Keep an eye on Hayden Smythe here, I should say, boys. Let's wait and see if he comes into the pit lane this time or whether he goes on. If he goes on, it would suggest that, yes, he probably is on that fresher set of rubber right now. Car 119 will get a drive-through penalty for a pit lane infringement on lap 13.
Oh, Tommy Foster. Tommy Foster for a trip to pit lane. Ladies and gentlemen, they've been thick and thorough tonight on those infringements for exceeding it. We had the question pop up in Discord, mind you, Kisby and Zach, about where the fast lane is. Benny Siren on the inside of the DSL, the 588 of Craig Casper gets the move done, and that promotes Jonathan Bain onto the back of Casper now as well. Jonathan Bain going to have a look around the outside. Does he get the move done? Tucks back in behind.
At this stage, I've only got the stream that I'm watching at the moment, guys, so I'm probably slightly a little bit behind you guys. But, man, these guys are doing a great job, aren't they? It's a development series. Now, when I look at the development series, I expect more mistakes. I expect the guys to be learning their racecraft, making a few mistakes, putting in those where it really shouldn't be sometimes, but these guys are driving really, really well.
Indeed they are.
Call it so much of a development series anymore, Kisby. I mean,
No.
we've moved to the open setups, and
Okay.
a few of these names we know from what used to be last season, the Nationwide Technology Systems. Nationwide Technology System split once. So, I mean, you've got Nash and Vella and Davis. Scott Martin runs straight on at the bus stop. That's going to be a slowdown for him, no doubt. And we know, you got Jamie Davis, you got Shane Clark, you got quite a few drivers that could have been contesting the Super Series.
Yeah.
But obviously, with so many new drivers, we've got a field of 80 cars between the two of them.
Jamie Davis is on pit road, boys. Jamie Davis on pit road.
Jamie Davis, Shane Clark in the pits. So many new drivers that are now contesting the series has obviously bumped these guys out. Car 89, though, drive through for a pit lane infringement, lap 14. They're thick and thorough this tonight, boys.
Oh, they certainly are, Matt. And car 89, of course, is Darren Robb already.
Simon Vella,
a couple of laps down.
1.5. Fastest lap of the race.
Not bad from Simon Vella this late into the race. Although, that being said, he has completed his second pit stop, so that would suggest fresh rubber from him and making the most of that while he can. We are on lap 21. This and another 9 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. Robbie Bradbury down the inside. Unable to get the job done in the first part of the corner, but on the run up to turn 2, he will go to 11th on the inside of Stephen Martin. They'll go side by side up through 2 and 3. Let's wait and see. And yes, this is good stuff. This is really good stuff.
That's actually a lap.
Actually, no, you're right. It's Nathan Clive, my apologies, who is 11th, and Bradbury, that's to move into the top 10. I saw the 11 first and thought it was 11th and 12th. No, it's 10th and 11th. And then the elbows are out here with Tony Gaffer, Simon Vella, and also David Nash at the moment in the battle for third.
Traffic playing into the hands of Vella, though, here for Nash, Zach, and Kisby. Vella's the closest he's been to Nash all race long, and he's got Gaffer to thank for that one. Nash wasn't able to clear Gaffer quick enough to be able to maintain that gap.
I don't these cars look absolutely brilliant there, guys. Deliveries on these cars looking up to the standard that I've come to know from the Supercar series, from the main game, and then these guys now, wow, they put as much time into it as what I do, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Matt, remind me at the end of the broadcast, we'll come back and explore that point about the growth of the series between seasons, because as you say, regulars from the NTS top tier last season are actually headlining this series at the moment. That just goes to show the growth, the popularity, the credibility that this series takes with it. both across the top split and the second split in Season 2. Lap 22 and 30.
Yeah,
David Nash in third at the moment. Oh, well, lap
speed
32.
these drivers show, that's just ridiculous. I mean, you
but
said last
I
night,
mean,
you said last night, just before the pre-race show, just as we were chatting before we went on it, it was a second between first and I think the
30.
top 30 you were saying.
Yeah, in qualifying.
In qualifying, so, and I mean, it was a second between the top 25, top 20 here tonight. So, I mean, to have that sort of pace among the two fields, it'd be it's probably 80 cars out on track. It's not doable, but throw 80 cars out on track. I reckon that's going to be one heck of a race. It's going to be probably carnage everywhere. But they manage to keep it clean, I reckon that'd be one of the best races we'd ever commentate. And maybe we might even look at doing that for a fun series and try to get you across for Sean McNamara's Invitational that he does in the silly week of week 13 in the off-season of iRacing. On screen at the moment with Brian Good, the privateer with the APC down the side. Big slide though and a big recovery. Lucky to get away with that one. Anthony Visma just behind him. Visma not hard to miss in that bright baby blue ZB Commodore. But at the moment, boys, it looks like they've all feathered themselves out. That big, long freight train that we saw throughout the whole entire field, they were all bunched up, not much separating them. That's finally fizzled out. There's a couple small battle packs going on. You've got Clive, Schultz, Gaffer Good, and Visma battling it out there for 10th position. But other than that, that's not really too many battles going on apart between, you know, Nash and Valor, which is the main one that we're going to be focusing on.
Indeed it is. And I tell you what, this is just really good to watch. Vela all over the back of Nash. And unfortunately now, you're talking about these guys and these guys only. Davis has dropped out of it completely. We wait and see what Hayden Smythe will do at the end of his next pit stop, but he's only got about 24 seconds to his advantage. Bruce Tunnock's going to be in a tremendous amount of trouble very shortly with Nash and Vela breathing down his neck as well. So keep an eye out on all of this.
Pit lane infringement.
Oh, no. So another one. I think we've surpassed last night already, and we're still 7 laps from home after the one we're on now.
006, that's Robert Brower.
Yeah.
Robert Brower. He's going for a trip to pit lane. So I think we've surpassed the 10 pit lane infringements that you guys had last night. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. The right team's finally teamed up. Nash has caught his teammate. It's going to be a bit of tactic going on here. The 1, 2, 3 of 123. Who's that we've got on screen there? That'd be Bruce Tannick.
Yeah.
Bruce Tannick holding up Simon Vella there.
Disadvantage David Nash right now. Tannick hasn't pitted the second time. Everybody else around him has. He's the sitting duck here in all of this, and he's going to go on for another lap. His first pit stop was lap 12. We're now on lap 24. He's right on the precipice of needing to stop. Down the inside. Job done, maybe, no.
Contact between Vella and Tannick.
There
That's
goes
going to be a bad lane.
Wow. Simon Vella and David and Bruce Tannick. Can you believe this? Free pass David Nash, free kick Simon Vella. Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
Ouch.
Vella gets a little bit of understeer. Tannick just comes down a little bit too much on Vella into the corner. Should have given him a bit more racing room. He is under blue flags, mind you, as well, ladies and gentlemen. So a little bit of poor racecraft by Tannick there. Racing for position we're hearing. So, which they were.
Yeah, they would have been racing.
Tannick, they were racing for position. So,
well,
the team orders there, I reckon.
Technically, yes, they would have been racing for position, Matt, but technically not as well, because at the same time, we were waiting for Tannick to come in to complete his second stop. So they were racing for track position, but Vella could have been a little bit more patient there.
So big mistake by Vella there on turn 1. Well, Tannick and Vella, it's going to be one that the race control is going to have to look, no doubt, Kisby and Zach,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we're going to have to watch this one. But Anthony Visma had a ripping race last week around Montreal. He's sitting down in 19th, not where he wants to be at the moment. It's still championship points, and we got a safety car out on track, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, wow.
The first safety car for the night. Lap 25 of 30.
What a...
As that just ticks over. Get a Goodyear Auto Carolina replay of this one and see Andrew Johnston.
And...
Oh! Troy Owen and Andrew Johnson get together a little bit. There was a major net code in that one.
So Nash Bella like the top three at the moment. Wow. And all of a sudden, boys, game back on. Bruce Tannock sees his opportunity. What comes of that incident between him and Vella a lap ago? What comes of this safety car right now? Game changer if ever there was one. Kisby, we had one on lap 1 last night, and then we never saw the safety car again. So no, it's lap 25, and we're going to have a 5-lap mad as hell dash and sprint to the line. It's going to be huge.
Yes, it looked like someone just forgot to put their foot on the brake there. That was amazing. What a spin, the G-force coming out of that if you were in a real car, mate. It would have been unbelievable.
And by the looks of it, a new thing as well, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, you got a couple cars going around the safety car just there. Got a new rule, the wave around. Allowing cars to get back either on the lead lap or out of the way of obviously lead cars. So this is going to promote faster restarts and more action-packed restarts, no doubt. The slower lapped cars are definitely not going to be impeding. For instance, Nash, Vella, Smythe, Davis, Clark, Martin, Bradbury, Good, Gaffer, and Siren, which are your top 10 at the moment. So come the restart, watch for the action to play out. At the moment, they're all spread out. Another wave around going by there. So race control will get this one sorted out. By the looks of it, might be a 2-lap safety car on this one. Last night, we only saw the 1 lap. Tonight might go for the 2 or 3. So this is going to promote a lot of fuel saving. The drivers that were hoping for a safety car, their wishes come true.
In this particular case, we say, don't hit the safety car.
2 things here, but notably, the safety car comes out right now, and instead of it being a 1-lapper like it was last night, it's a 2-lapper because last night we didn't have anyone like down. So the wave around process delays the restart a little bit, obviously. That's important to note. The second piece of information we take out, taking it back to pit lane on the 31st lap after the checkered flag flies at the end of the 30th on fuel. So all those problems that Kisby and I witnessed last night evaporate. The other thing I want to know, race control. What do they do about that incident with Simon Vella? Do they act on that now, or do they act on it post-race or after the restart? And well, that could be the tale of the tape here tonight. David Nash has the advantage. Traffic making their way around. We wait and see when this safety car might come back to pit lane. All to play with 5 laps to go. We're going to have at least 3, possibly 4 of those under.
It's going to be some fast laps, mind you, boys and ladies and gentlemen. The restart's going to be fierce. It's going to be ferocious. And the boys are going to be going for gold here. We are only round 2, mind you. Very, very early in the season. The start of the season, mind you. And what looks like is they're racing for the championship win here. So it's one to watch out for. We saw last week, round 1 at Montreal, that put on some amazing racing. A lot of guys making some bold moves as if it was the dying rounds of the championship. And they're doing that again tonight. So we hear the safety car lights might be out.
Headlights are still on?
Headlights are still on. So what we found out as well is we obviously in our own
Headlights
safety
are the
car.
telltale there, boys.
Yes, obviously due to our own safety car, we can't actually put your yellow rotating flashy beacons on top. So luckily enough for the GT3, having that as our safety car, those guys are able to switch their headlights on and off. So
I must say that, Matt, yeah, I could never drive a safety car because I don't know where my light switch is.
I guess if you did drive one, Kisby, you'd have to assign one pretty damn quick. That's for sure. But by the looks of it, we'll be going for one more lap in the safety car. And leave a comment in the section. Who thinks we should get Kisby into the safety car to replace?
I know, yeah.
To replace
Don't give
Craig
up your
Schultz, or
day
maybe
job,
even
mate,
replace Lee Davis one night. Kisby, we know he's
And still whatever it's, boys.
What's that? Sorry, Zach.
That's it. Still one lap around here, boys. So keep an eye on this.
Yep.
Because the safety car has just let wave around. More wave arounds are unfolding. So all of a sudden, what was going to be a 4-lap sprint becomes a 3-lap sprint. The elbows are going to be out. I'm not ruling out the possibility that we finish this one under safety.
I doubt the race control will finish it under green and yellows. That's for sure.
Safety
The green
cars,
white
always green
checkers.
safety cars.
That's it. But this far into the race, we know in the real life, if the car is getting up on the track, we know that they'll let that car just sit there and warn drivers to go through with caution. We did see it on the on Sunday night when I was watching the Premier League of V8 Scops. The commentators did put out the call for the viewers saying that race control have warned drivers of a car
Looks like
on the butt stop and to go through caution. And so no doubt if the car does go off track in the last remaining 3-lap sprint to the finish, that they will provide drivers with extreme caution through that section. So there'll be yellow flags, no overtaking, obviously, that's what they would do in real life. And it'd be an all-out sprint after that to the finish. With 3 laps to go, Zach and Chris, it's going to be interesting. The tyres have cooled off. You can see a few drivers trying to keep temps into the tyres by weaving. And don't forget as well the rule in section, JP will be able to fill us in, but section whatever it may be in, under the safety car, that once the lights are out, all weaving must stop. And if you're a big motorsport follower, you would know that in the rule book for real life and obviously the simul. 4 to go at the moment.
So, who's running on board?
Oh dear. You'd have to take it on the pole center because he's got control of the race. And
there is that big straight. Don't forget the straights, Kisby.
Yeah, it's still, the advantage that you've got from being at the front, I mean, you can slow down, and if the guys out behind you aren't switched on for when you accelerate, then you can accelerate out to quite a gap in that first little bit.
There it is. Safety cars checking away from the field. David Nash resumes control. David Nash under the control of the rest of the field as Craig Schultz puts pedal to the metal to get that safety car back to pit lane as quick as he can. Let's hope he doesn't do a Lee Davis and shoot off onto the grass. Do a bit of mowing for the Watkins Glen circuit in upstate New York, along the east coast of America. We know I love to do it in the hot lap, boys, on the opener or at the end, but unfortunately, it's not about me, it's about Lee Davis. David Nash with the pedal to the middle, gets the jump over Bella into the final corner.
Correct.
He gets a nice jump onto the restart. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nash, Bella, Smythe, Davis get a nice little jump.
Yep.
Shane Clark goes with him as well. Into turn 1 for the restart. 3 laps to go, 28 to 30. Up
There we
the
go.
hill they're
Look at
about to
that
go.
Being in control. It's
That
exactly what I
slipstream
said.
comes into effect right now, ladies and gentlemen. There's no one in front of Nash for him to slipstream off, so this is going to promote Valor. Valor is going to start closing up behind him. We'll see it any moment now. There's the slipstream coming into effect. Visma. Anthony Visma going to pit lane for an infringement on lap 23. Valor doesn't get a good enough run into the bus stop to promote a movement.
Another
Shane
pit lane
Clark up
infringement.
the inside of Davis. Clark and Davis still duking it out this late in the race.
This is where they
I
should
tell
be
you
duking it
what,
out, yeah?
we've enjoyed this battle all night long, haven't we? Yeah,
Inside.
it's been phenomenal watching
Chuck.
these guys duke it out all night.
Whoa! How's that for a move, ladies
Dan,
and
but he
gentlemen?
gets it done, does he? Oh, no, he lost it on the exit, Matt. He lost it on the exit. Dear, oh dear.
Clark and Davis still duking it out.
Nash
28 to
fellas.
30. This is going to go right to the end. Nash Fellas White, they're battling it out up the front. The more Clark and Davis battle, the more those top three are going to get away from them. And that's not what Davis wants. Davis wants to get onto the podium. If only he could tell Shane Clark to follow him and he'll take him to the leaders. Little bit of clean air now over Clark for Davis. Nash, Valor and Smythe, they've checked out from these two. Second and a half from third back to fourth. And look at that, it's nearly a second gap between Nash and Valor. And then another 1.5 seconds back. Well, no, sorry, half a second back to Smythe. Up the back straight they go. Top of sixth gear, and I'll run into the bus stop. And by the looks of it, Zach and Chris, Nash has got this secured.
Bit of a gap now starting to form there, Matt. And as I say, yeah, it's having that pole position or that control of the pack right at the beginning of the when you're coming back from a yellow flag and under the safety car. Yeah, it just gives you that little bit of confidence you can get away. You've got to be exceptionally on the ball.
And there's a car off the track in turn 7. Sorry to cut you off there, Kiz.
You're all right, mate.
We've got race control, local yellow at the bus stop, and there'll be a yellow in the in turn 7 there as well, no doubt. So the two big overtaking opportunities for drivers are now out the window. Nash runs a little bit wide.
Wow,
he's got a
what
nice
a game
bumper.
changer.
Big game changer. The two overtaking opportunities are now done and dusted. The only real couple left are into the final quarter. If you can get it out, run out of 11 there, or if you can get it high up enough down the straight onto the back bumper. But it's a bit late for Valor here coming into turn 1. Nash is too far out in front. Davis is looking to catch back up to Smythe on the last lap. He's making a run for it. I'm watching the 10th count down on Smythe. So Davis and Clark have finally sorted it out and making a run for the podium. Clark all over the back of Davis. Davis runs defensive. Clark right up on the inside into the bus stop. How about that? Doesn't get the move done on Davis. He remembers the yellows. We just lost Zach Caven for a second. He's back. I believe this is reboot of the NBN. So let's hope that connection and speed are back to what they were.
So Nash going down.
Checking out.
Yeah, and to be fair, Matt, all of this stems from the restart, doesn't it? I mean, he checked out on the restart. We've got Bruce Tunnock off in the background as well behind these guys, so we'll get the replay of that for you before the checkered flag here. But this has all been won off the restart. He got that down packed. He checked out as quickly as he could. The restart was in his hands, and he nailed it in every sense of the word, and he's going to be rewarded with his first win of the season.
Well, call 911, boys, because he's stolen the race off the restart. That's for sure. David Nash coming into the final 2 corners to secure his first win. Wednesday night motorsport for the RSRA Super 2 E-Series.
Oh, nicely done. What a drive that was. What a call that was from Matty Davis as well. Simon Vella's second, although I'm interested to see what race control make of that incident he had there a few laps ago before the safety car was called with Bruce Tannock. Hayden Smythe in for third, Jamie Davis and Shane Clark, then Stephen Martin, Ben Siren, Jonathan Ben, Kyle Zink and Adam Moore. And in the end, thanks to the safety car, 1 hour, 32 seconds, .568 the race time. And the top 10 ended up being separated by only 12.8 seconds. A lot closer than what it should have been, but we can thank the safety car for that.
Thank the safety car. And a lot of big movers up and down the field. We got Steve Martin, who's made his way into the top 10, up 6 positions. Jonathan Bain up 5, Cole Zink up 7, Adam Moore up 8. And then you start getting into the big movers. Blair Van Ree just missing out on the top 10. He started all the way down in 23rd position. He's up 12. Daniel Schultz up 16 positions. Jason Scour up 11. Nathan Clive up 14 positions. Scotty Short 17. Mark Turner up 13. So a lot of big movers this race, and the biggest loser tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Troy Owen with a did not finish. David Leslie with the DNF as well, and Robbie Bradbury, the biggest loser, who finished tonight down 19 positions, the way in 30th position. But the man of the night, who stole the race away off the restart, it's not one he wanted to plan, but he got it done in the end. David Nash with an absolute stellar race, led from start to finish, had immense pressure from Simon Vella from the Century Motorsports team all race long, but managed to get it under control off the safety car restart, the only safety car that we had for tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, we haven't had to crank up the volume moment at all because the action's been so fierce, so crank up the volume now and listen to David Nash tip it in down the main straight, and we'll get our comments off Kisby after it for the burnout.
Aha, the burnout, eh? Oh, at least he got around after the... And he slows it down, gets ready, and start up.
Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, Kisby's watching off the live stream on his phone.
Yeah, that's right.
Due to NBN issues down in the Spirit of Tassie down there, he's not having the best of run. But I must admit, apart from the wall knock there, Kisby, it's probably one of the best burnouts we've probably seen.
Actually, I did one earlier tonight at Villeneuve, and in my Mustang, and it was a perfect 3 circles. So I'm getting there.
You're getting there, and it takes a lot of effort to do. You thought racing these cars was hard, ladies and gentlemen. Try tipping this thing in for a burnout. That's even harder.
Absolutely.
So that's easy, Kisby says. The master of burnouts down south in Tasmania. The unofficial race results brought to you by Racecraft Simulations, ladies and gentlemen, for the DSL Welding Triple Crown at Watkins Glen Bootleg on the east coast of the States, up in New York, in the upstate of New York. David Nash with the race win. Simon Valla in second, Hayden Smythe in third, Jamie Davis in fourth, Shane Clark in fifth, Stephen Martin in sixth, Benny Siren seventh, Jonathan Bain eighth, Cole Zink 9, and rounding out your top 10, 12 seconds off the front of the pack, Adam Moore.
11th went to Blair Van Ray, and then, of course, Daniel Schultz. Then, of course, Jason Scollier. Hey, what a performance from him, too. Nathan Clive, then Brian Good, Robert Brower, then Tony Gaffer, Mark Turner, Scott Short, and Scott Barton made up the top 20.
Justin Pennyfather, Craig Casper, Stephen Bankstead, Miller, John Nikolaev, Alex Schuller, Tommy Foster, Will Yesberg, Robbie Bradbury, and Peter Kelly, 44 seconds down the field there, or down the road, making out your top 30 there. And then we just go on to Bruce Tannock, Gary Crittenden, Andrew Johnson, Anthony Bismarck, due to a drive-through penalty for a pit lane infringement. Darren Robb, Simon Farrington, and then go down into our lapped cars and DNF, Craig Gurry, David Leslie. Troy Allen, and then the amazing safety car driver in that gorgeous Porsche, sitting down there in 40th position, is Craig Schultz. But boys, before we get to the post-race show, Kisby, mate, we know you. We'll get you to unmute yourself very quickly.
No, he's not. He won't be able to hear you, Matt. He's got his headphones muted.
Oh, he's got his headphone muted as well, so he's completely out of the picture. So don't worry about Kisby, mate. Zachy, it's first seat in the house for the Super 2 E Series. We had you in last season for season 1 for the Goodyear Auto Care Verana series there. Your thoughts on tonight's race and the talent that looks like to be spicing up over the next 12 weeks?
Well, firstly, apologies from me, because it would seem as though running Discord off the laptop is working 1,000 times better than running off the PC. Yet the PC is supposed to be able to handle a bigger load. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Secondly, the level of intensity is just upped tenfold, hasn't it? Season to season, as we said. The competitiveness, the intensity, it's just a whole new level. And that was evident tonight. Sure, the safety car punched things up and gave us a real firecracker of a finish there. But my take out of all of that, Matt, was that 5 of the guys that qualified in the top 10, namely Nash, Vella, Smythe, also Shane Clark, who finished in 5th, and Ben Siren, who started 7th, finished 7th, they all finished where they started. So to get 5 of the guys home exactly where they qualified, that's not a bad stat out of the night. That was, as I said, 60 minutes and 32 seconds of racing, 1.1 the winning margin, and 2 different winners to start the season. And to be fair, after last night's anticlimax, I'm bloody happy to see someone being able to perform burnouts, because Rainer Costello, not knowing that he was going to win the race after Dylan Rudd ran out of fuel, came into pit lane. We didn't get any burnouts last night. So we feel as though we were shortchanged last night. We've fixed that for you tonight. That was good.
Well, it's good to finally get the band back together as well. The boys are back in town finally, and we were able to see the burnout. Unfortunately, missed it last night, but post-race penalties, that's what happens when you run out of fuel. It's good to see Nash, Smythe, and who was our other top finisher? Valor as well. Get down into the we'll just drag Simon up here into the chat room as well. Good to see them able to get it home on the fuel window there and be able to get their cool-down laps sorted so they don't cop that post-race penalty. But overall, boys, now that we got you all into the booth, congratulations to all you. Simon Valor, mate, congratulations on second position there, and Hayden Smythe back on the podium in third. Big congratulations though to David Nash. He was in the podium last week. He's finally got the race win this week. We'll start off with you, mate, and we know you're a regular here. Big congrats on the win. One step up from your second place last week. So obviously you were a bit hungry this week coming into Watkins Glen.
Certainly was, mate. This track, I actually enjoy this track. It's quite a flowing, fast track. What I did do is just keep an eye on Simon behind me. I know he's quick. One mistake and Simon would have been right up behind me. So that was my aim, just to keep him behind me as far as I can.
You kept him at bay for majority of the race. I mean, it was you two just duking it out. You skipped away from your teammate there, Hayden, quite a number of times. It was just you and Vella dueling it out all race, and then you had Clark and Davis. I mean, that was an all race long battle. I mean, that was so intense to watch. We actually didn't get too much airtime of you tonight, but mate, you kept him at bay, and for the majority of the race, you started first, finished first. Obviously played your pit stops well. Simon followed you in and was trying to play we'll try and get the shorter pit stop on you. But then the safety car came out right at the end of the race. Got an absolute stellar restart, mind you, and stole the race. We said call 911 because you did steal the race. And mate, coming into that, what were your thoughts exactly? You knew you had to get the jump to get the race win, but you knew Vela was always going to be there in your rearview mirror, applying the pressure for you.
It's a restart after any safety car. You sort of just got to just go and hopefully there, Simon, he obviously didn't pick up what I was doing. So, I was happy that I pulled a second on him straight away. So I knew if he was closer than that, with those few draft straights there, he would have had a look.
Well, stick around, mate. We've obviously got the man himself, Zach Caban, in the booth. So we'll get him to fire off some questions after I fired off a couple more towards Simon and Hayden here. And obviously, he's the man of many questions. He's always full of wisdom and knowledge. So prepared
Talking
to
up Matt
have your
Davis.
brain prepared to have your brain picked, that's for sure. And boys, just a heads up for Zach as well, especially Hayden, who hasn't managed to have a chat to Zach so far. But Simon, mate, congratulations on your first podium for season 2. I believe it might be your first podium for this series. You be able to correct me on that one?
For the Tuesday nights, I got a few podiums in that.
That's right. You've come in from Tuesday night. So, but for the Wednesday night motorsport, you've bagged yourself your first podium. So, big congratulations on that one, mate. Now, making the transition, obviously, you're a split 1 driver last season for season 1. Coming into split 2, obviously, Zach and I will touch base on how much this series has grown from season to season. Mixing it up now at the top of the field with the boys, and geez, it's almost like being in the Super Series. They're that bloody quick. What are your thoughts so far on the series, mate?
It's pretty good. A few questionable things with pit lane and whatnot, but other than that, it's pretty cool. Yeah, can't complain.
Mate, you had a pretty good run. You started second, finished second behind Nashi there, and applied the pressure all race long. Around Watkins Glen, we thought we'd see a lot more overtaking opportunities and a lot more lunges, but you just quite couldn't get up under the rear wing of Nash and get that move done into the bus stop.
Yeah, well, that's majority of the second stint I was driving easy because I actually thought he was going to get a drive-through penalty on his pit entry, but obviously the rules don't apply when you cross the line going into the pits. But yeah, so I just drove it easy. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But then, once the race control said, oh, yeah, it's clear to go, then, I kept going, tried to catch him.
Mate, one thing tonight that was noticeable between Zach and myself and obviously Kisby last night, and that's a new voice that you boys haven't heard before, is Chris Kisby, the spirit of Tasmania himself. He's a witty old man who's got a lot of questions as well, so we might even be able to bring him in for a couple questions after Zach. Track temp, 56 degrees. It was an absolute scorcher around Watkins Glen tonight. How did you manage that one?
Oh, not too bad. Providing you don't slide the car or lock the rears, the car wasn't too bad. It wasn't that much different to official. So, yeah, I found that pretty comfortable to drive with.
Mate, stick around. We'll get Zach and Kisby to fire off a couple more questions to you after I finish up with Hayden here. And Hayden, before we go into the congratulations, and mate, how do we pronounce your last name? There's a battle going on between Zach and myself. Is it Smythe or is it Smith?
So it happens everywhere. So it is Smith.
Hey, there we go. I nailed it on the head for the first week. One for Matt Davis, 0 for Zach Caban. I'll take that one.
And the only reason there was any debate whatsoever, I want to say hello to an old school friend of mine who has the exact same spelling for the surname there, but it is Meg Smythe.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's very much easy to see where the confusion creeps in there.
And I'll say the confusion creeps in because one's a Queenslander, one's a Victorian, myself being a Victorian. So that lockdown, you're only been in there for not even 24 hours, Zach, and you're already going mad.
Get me started about that. We'll be here all night.
Beat the politics out.
That's it. Hayden, mate, back on the podium again for the second race of the season. That's going to help your championship run early on this season. What are your thoughts on tonight's race?
It was pretty good. I should have. I ran and Nash and I ran opposite. He took tyres first. I took tyres first. He took second. But I should have gambled and just hung out for the safety car because I had enough fuel for it. So that would have been interesting on old tyres trying to hold him back. But didn't do it. So I'll take third.
That's one we talked about. We did say that if a safety car was imminent, you could have made the long stint and made it a one-stopper, and quite a lot of people were trying to do the fuel-saving game. Mate, tyres are a big one around here. Slipstream, another one, and we know that the aero wash on these V8 supercars is one to battle with. We know you weren't too much in the aero wash. You had a pretty quiet night at the office. You had a nice, comfortable buffer back to Jamie Davis, which, I mean, that was, stellar driving on your behalf to keep that at bay. But Jamie Davis didn't help himself with Shane Clark there. Did you know you had the pace for Valor and Nashi, or you just sort of had the quiet night in the office and just sat nice and comfortably down there in third position?
I did for the first part of the first stint, but then after that, I just didn't have the long pace. And then once Jamie sorted out Clark, he was catching me. That was why I grabbed tyres, because I couldn't deal with it. So I took them early to cover off Jamie, really, if he had a late push.
There we go. Zach, mate, I'll let you fire away a couple questions while I quickly run away.
Yeah, no worries. We'll have championship points and Triple Crown points for you in just a moment as well, folks. DSL Welding Triple Crown underway with this round of the championship. And that's another point that I'll get back to Matt Davis on a little bit later on. In the meantime, David Nash, well done to you, mate. You look to be in complete control of that right from the start, because whilst the field were putting some pressure on you, there was no real urgency from them to try and lunge down the inside or at least attempt an overtaking manoeuvre. So were you feeling the pressure despite the fact that they weren't applying it?
Yeah, I wouldn't use control loosely like that. It was it was pretty wild. I felt if I kept Simon at bay, I'd go on and win it. I felt like I pulled enough gap for Hayden and Jamie and that, so I was pretty safe out front if I didn't make any mistakes.
Yeah, indeed. And what about the restart, mate? You couldn't have got that any better if you tried.
I know. I fluked that one, and I think Simon was asleep, so I'll take that.
Well, I actually called it early there, Zach, didn't I? That if David, he had control, and when you've got control of the cars behind you, then it's up. You can call the shots now, and you've got to hope that those guys are asleep. And unfortunately, maybe the guys at the back there were just having a bit of a nod. And just relaxing and just waiting to see what he did. But no, great work there, David. And it was a perfect move like I called it. You know, I can't drive like you guys, but I can call it like you guys.
Boys, also one other interesting point worth discussing. Kisby and I sat here deliberating this for about half an hour last night. How were you guys on fuel before the safety car? Was it going to be... I know Hayden was fine because he went a longer strategy in the second stop, but how were you, David? And then obviously we'll get Simon Vella's thoughts as well. How were you guys on fuel before the safety car? Did that help you guys get across the line? Or was there going to be some mass fuel saving going on to get back to the lane on lap 31? Because as we saw last night, Dylan Rudd, his night got brought undone. He got a three-stop penalty, or three-place penalty rather, for not being able to get back to the control line or the pit lane at least at the end of the race. Dave, you first.
Yeah, no, I think I had about 3 litres, as one of my apps said. So I think I was fine. So safety car helped, but I had too much fuel then. So yeah.
Yeah. But that was a good problem for everyone to have, I guess, Simon Vella, as we bring you in, because at the end of the day, rather have too much than not enough in that case where there are 3-place penalties on the line if you can't get back to pit lane under your own steam.
I had heaps of fuel. No, I probably put a little too much in. I was saving a bit being behind him. But, yeah, no problems there.
Stuff. Hey, Simon, just talk us through, you had a little bit of hip and shoulder there at turn 1. Just not long before that safety car came out. Has anyone spoken to you about that, or are you in the clear?
In the clear, as far as I know.
That's not too bad at all then, because we were sitting here trying to work out how that was going to unfold in commentary. But just talk us through the incident, if you don't mind.
I knew if I got stuck behind his teammate, it was going to hold me up quite a bit. So I kind of just said to it and said, if, what happens, happens. I knew it was going to turn in and make it hard. I was up to his mirror. We touched, and yeah, I had to let go for it. Otherwise, I would have lost the draft, and he probably would have disappeared.
How many times do we see that, Zach, with teammates? Yeah, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
We see it at the GSRC all the time, and we've seen it here before. That teammates get together and they try and hold that third person out. So good job on that, Matt. Trying to and keep that in there, not Matt, Simon. Yep. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah, you let the teammates in front of you there, and you've got to try and split them up because it makes your race difficult at the end.
No further action from race control, just confirming that for everybody. So Simon is in the clear. He'll get second here. David Nash, Simon Vella, Hayden Smith, your top three. They're with us in the post-race show. Matt Davis just ducked out of the room momentarily. I'm sure he'll be back with us in fact, he's already back with us as well. Just get the little light flick on the Discord to let us know that he's there. So good on you, mate. Hayden, just to you. I mean, that's a nice start to the season, but 10 rounds to go. There's a lot of work to be done, and a tricky stop next week being Laguna Seca.
Absolutely. It's definitely not a favourite of mine, so it'll be an interesting night, I suppose.
And interesting as well, Simon, I guess. I mean, you're used to this because we had you in the top split last season, but for the guys that weren't in the top split last season, added pressure, added test for them this season with the fact that they're running exactly the same distance as the top split. So we're on level pegging.
Yeah, 100%. The longer the races, the better, I've got to say.
What are your thoughts on that, Matt Davis, by the way? Because I want you to take control back at this point in time. But obviously, this is something we discussed at the end of last season, the fact that it's level pegging. Sure, a couple of format differences along the way just to, spice it up a little bit and not make everything predictable. But the fact that the second split is being tested just as much as the top split, I like it.
Well, apart from obviously having your fast repair this season as well in the Super 2 E series that the drivers are getting, and that's for the ladies and gentlemen who are following at home, that the drivers do get the fast repair. It's an open playing field. I mean, last season we saw some really contested driving. They're all on the same setup. The only thing they could dial in was their brake bias. And this season, I mean, you can change literally anything that you can change in the setup menu on your car, you can change. And then during your race, you've got your anti-roll bars to be able to dictate where, how you want your car to react around the track. And every driver is going to be different. So to see the series, season 2 for the Super 2 guys really open up and is amazing. It's going to really show who's got the pace and who's got that fine tuning in their setup. We know that there's teams between. I mean, we've got Nash. We know you've got Scholesy over into the in the split 1 there. So obviously you guys are going to be able to work on setup there and have the setup there for the Super Series and Super 2 Series. The E1 boys, Sim Racing boys, they're going to have the same thing. Sorry, pardon me. They're going to have the same thing. Same with the 9.5 boys. But you've got privateers like Brian Good, who's doing it tough out there, and it's going to be hard to see them really work it out. But it's also going to be interesting because they could be the underdog. They can miraculously find some pace out of their setup that other drivers won't be able to and share it across the board. So I'm really interested to see that one, Zach, how it's going to pan out over the next 10 weeks to go before we wrap up the season. But I've just got the message as well from our director JP that the championship points are up, so we'll quickly duck over to them and see where the first Triple Crown points and championship points are leading up to now. And just a reminder as well, ladies and gentlemen, these are unofficial. So David Nash takes the top of the reign there now with 303 points, closely behind Jamie Davis. Aiden, though, takes third position, holds it comfortably there over Benny Siren. Jonathan Bay now up into 5th, Stephen Martin in the 6th, Shane Clark in 7th, Adam Moore in 8th, Tony Gaffer in 9th, Simon Vella in 10th. So a big change already in the top 10. Visma was up there at the start of the night. He's now ducked down. Casper, Clive, Schooler, Turner, Good, Zink, Schultz, Short, Bradbury, Blair, Van Ree, rounding out your top 20 there. We'll let those cycle through for you, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe we have Triple Crown points as well to bring up after the unofficial racecraft simulations results. And we'll bring in some sponsors as well towards the end of the broadcast as well, boys, and give them a bit of a plug and a big thank you as well, because obviously none of this is possible without those guys along our side. And obviously none of it's possible without JP clicking the buttons to obviously cycle through the next page and give you all these amazing overlays that you are seeing tonight as well. And we'll bring up some Triple Crown points for you as well, ladies and gentlemen, to get those underway, get them out of the way, I should say, and then we can start looking into what's going to be happening for Saturday night motorsport, some Tuesday night motorsport, then back here for Wednesday night motorsport, and then obviously looking towards the rest of the season, where we're going to be at next week. We know we're at, I've just already forgot the track. The boys are in. There we go, Laguna Seca.
And can I stress as well, I just got the memo, it's a sprint round for Kisby and I on the Tuesday night.
That's super
It is
sprint
a
for us.
super sprint for you guys. So
shaking it up.
That is going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons, because I couldn't think of a worse venue than Laguna Seca for reverse grid racing. There's going to be fireworks. That's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be good. And guess what, boys? It's going to be the band back together there. So I think it's going to be a good one to commentate. We're going to try and get there for Tuesday night's hot lap, and try and stick around for some of the race. We'll see how we go on time. For myself, obviously, family commitments on my end. But Wednesday night is definitely going to be turning it on for a reverse grid race. And while we're at it, we may as well have a look at what's going to be happening for the rest of the season, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll let you guys see what's up ahead. We saw it last week. We'll have another look at it this week, because it is a short season compared to last one. 17 last season, only 12 this season. But Watkins Glen just wrapped up this week. Then off to Laguna Seca. And then the big one, Nürburgring. That's going to be one that we're going to favour. Not a track that we're used to commentating around here, boys. So that's going to be a new one for us. Then off to Alton Park, Chicago Street Circuit, concrete barriers.
That's a new one.
That's a new one. And it's a 73 lap endurance race, mind you. So anything worse, you've got an endurance race, which is bad enough as it is, and then you put that onto a street circuit. You thought Bathurst was bad. I think Chicago Street Circuit's going to be one to watch. So look forward to that one, ladies and gentlemen. That's on the 27th of July. Then off to Belle Isle, Red Bull Ring. That's a new one for the season as well, and a new one for iRacing. Then off to Imola. Then off to Twin Ring, Motegi, Phillip Island, or back down under for Phillip Island, and then finishing it up, excuse me, with a double sprint for Bathurst. And obviously we love finishing it up back here down under at Bathurst. It's a well-known circuit and a well-loved circuit for many drivers. While I'm on it, we'll give a quick thanks to the sponsors as well. Why don't we, Zach? Obviously, Nationwide Tracking Systems. You've got Goodyear Auto Care, Burana, Racecraft Simulations, bringing us all our championship points and results there. DSL Welding Services for our Triple Crown that we have tonight. Dragon RC, Devon Stove Designs, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, FU Suicide for men's mental health awareness, SDK Gaming for all our overlays, Track Cams for Gourmet, and then the man himself, JP, over at Sim Shed Broadcasting. Plastering it all over the platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, you name it. He's got them covered, and he's always a busy man, and we'll try and wrap this up within the next 10 minutes so that man can get off and get some sleep, because that is one very tired boy over there. And looking into next week, into Saturday night motorsport as well, Zach, and what's coming up for motorsport. We know Aidan Schultz, the man for Circle Racing over there on Saturday nights. He's going to be taking that one. I believe you may be joining him for that one again.
There's an outside chance, and without giving too much away, it depends on the availability, because I've got someone waiting to come back to me about whether they're available, and I might have a Saturday night if they are. If not, then definitely in here 7:20 on Saturday night without giving too much away. And it's Martinsville this week, so cautions breed cautions, and that place will be full of them.
That's it. So Saturday night weekend Warriors Cup car racing, ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday night from 7:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And then obviously back here to the main game for the RSRA Super Series on Tuesday night from 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Zach Cabe and Chris Kisby covering up that one, and you'll see me making an appearance in the FU Suicide Commodore for the FU Suicide Hot Lap as well. Hopefully, fingers crossed, work permitting.
That will be entertaining.
That's always entertaining. And then back here on Wednesday night, 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for the RSRA Super 2 E-Series. Zach, just a quick thoughts, mate.
Yeah, mate.
You and Chris have done the first two rounds of the season 1. How's it going over on that end before we finish up with the drivers here tonight to get them to thank some sponsors?
Well, good old Kisby's main man, Runaway Rainer, as he calls him, Rainer Costello, leads the championship at the moment. And that's, yes, see, he just gets excited as soon as I mention his name. He of course, was second last week, inherited the win last night. Not the way he wants to win a race, but in inches as good as a mile, and he leads the championship as well. But it's only by something like 9 points over Dylan Rudd. The rest of the pack comes through. Alex Court copped a 10-point penalty last night, post-race as well, for incorrect use of comms in the post-race warmed or cool-down lap. There was so much drama last night, Kisby, but one thing's for certain, Runaway Rainer Costello is not going to have it all his own way this time round, based on what we've seen thus far.
No, that's right. We saw him absolutely dominate the last part of last season over there. And unfortunately, it hasn't really gone to plan. But, yeah, still leading. And, there we go. I was just doing some rounds around Watkins Glen there just to give the viewers a bit of an indication. He gave me, Matt gave me such a write-up there. What was the average lap time around Watkins Glen for these guys tonight, Zach?
Somewhere in the minute 49, minute 50 second. Yeah,
oh, there you go.
Not bad.
My third lap was a 154.
You little bit of work to do, Kisby.
A little bit of work to do, Kisby, but you know what it is? Practice makes perfect, mate.
That's exactly right.
One thing we haven't gone through as well, boys, we've been too busy gasbagging and talking, is Triple Crown points.
Yeah, can I lead you into that, because I just want to elaborate on what Kisby was saying. But practice makes perfect, Kisby, and there's plenty of people here, including Matt Davis, that will happily put their hand up, I'm sure, to get you a couple of seconds worth of speed there. But in saying that too, with regards to what we were saying about Rainer, we come into the season with a sense of anticipation that he would walk away with it to a point because of the absence of Lasse Leonage. And it now turns out that he's going to have to be more worried about Rehan Leonage as well, because that youngster, 11 years old, in the top tier after being in the second split last season, and
seventh in the championship points, and he's 11.
I know,
man. You guys have really got something to look out for when this young man gets coming. And
puts the rest of us to shame with the ability of that at that age.
Not only the ability to drive, just the ability to post race and talk. He's a superstar. He's got a big career in sim racing.
Yeah, so well spoken. So well spoken. Terrific stuff, Matt. And the great thing about that series is it's back next Tuesday night. We've got another 10 weeks to go, and I'm anticipating that it'll be Rudd and Costello toing and throwing every step of the way. Perhaps you'll have a couple of guys come in and throw the cat amongst the pigeons and a couple of movers and shakers along the way. But I think when we get to round 12, Mount Panorama, and it's a double sprint there, we're going to have an opening race of about 16 laps and then a 26-lap reverse grid race. It's going to be those two duking it out for the title, and that's in early September. I think September 7. Cannot wait.
Very quickly, Zach. Very quickly.
Yes, Kisby.
When's our V8 races? They're Friday nights, aren't they?
No, they're Thursday nights. They have
Thursday nights. Thursday nights. Yeah. Have a look for a name. I think somebody's trying to get in some practice.
All right, copy that. Looking forward to it eventually. And of course, we're on a Tuesday night with SimShed, but obviously on with the Gentlemen's their Thursday night. So we have 3 nights of supercar choice this at the moment, Kisby, because when the Gentlemen's get back underway, you can come over and watch these guys on a Wednesday night. We commentate Tuesday night, and then of course we commentate and race on Thursday night.
Exactly.
It's supercars are us at the moment, you could say.
It is. Yeah. Have a look out for a name that you know very, very well, and we'll see whether that comes in on a Thursday night.
Copy that. Rain, without going too long here, guys, because obviously we've got to wrap up and get out of here very shortly, and these guys need to thank their sponsors.
I've got my camera on to do the roll mark.
No, that's all right. And we need to go to, and that's a good thing too, by the way. And then we need to go to Triple Crown Championship points. What do you put you guys know the iRacing caper better than I do. I mean, you've only got to look at the growth in the grid from season to season to know that we've got something special here. Both the grids this week at Watkins Glen were pushing 40. You've got guys that were in our top split in season 1 and our second split for season 2, Matt Davis. I don't know if there is a more competitive series, a more polished product than what SimShed's doing at the moment. with the RSRA Super Series. And I don't say that as a broadcaster or someone that's, being paid to be here. I say that as an impartial fan of motorsport, just on the outside looking in. The fact that you guys, this grid has grown, expanded, evolved, but also tightened up in its high level of competitiveness at the same time. What do you put it down to, Matt, and then Kisby as well?
It's a hard thing. I mean, obviously started out in not last season's, but the season before. I started out with you guys with JP over there, and then work commitments permitting, had to unfortunately retire from that season. And then obviously had a crack at the start of last season. Again, work commitments, had to retire out of that one. So obviously made the decision to retire out of full-time driving. But from the races that I did have, and I had an absolute stellar race over at Montreal there, the competitiveness in the racing and how clean it is. I mean, we've got the live race control, which is so well structured that would bring drivers in, because that's what drivers like. They'd like to see drivers who do the wrong thing get penalised for what they do. But you'll also see the drivers out on track, they're racing hard and fair. So that's a very big one. Giz, we'll get you quickly to wrap up why you think this series is growing, and then we'll get JB to flick up some Triple Crown points for us, and then we'll get the drivers to quickly thank their sponsors and let not only the drivers and the viewers go, but we'll let JP go get some Z's as well.
Yes, mate. Yeah, thanks, Matt. Personally, I think it's evolving. With the COVID, a lot of people got sim gear. A lot of people got steering wheels. Even myself, I got a steering wheel. I got into iRacing, got welcomed into the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Now I'm welcomed into this one here. And people are not looking for arcade games anymore. I've gone past the fact of coming in here, racing around, treating it as if it's a bumper cart game, and they want realism. And I think this series especially brings in the realism of those people that cannot race for one reason or another in the real world. In my case, never been a car racer, I've been a car fan, but I've never been a car racer. But this gives me the opportunity to put myself in the seat of a car to the best of my ability anyway, and have the feeling of realism and proper racing with consequences. And I've always been a big thing with my up-and-comers of consequences for your actions. If you stick your nose in there, you wouldn't stick a car, $50,000, $100,000 car nose in a place where it's going to get bumped out, the motor's going to get wrecked. Why do it in here? And this is what people are looking for, I think, now as sim racing has evolved. And Zach, he's seen it through GSRC, through us, through a couple of the other series that he's seen. And the same thing, it's evolving in all these clubs. People are looking for that bit more realism. They always say we're not racing for sheep stations, but as I say, each individual section is a championship for that particular group of people. So that's what they're looking for, Matt.
There's an interesting sum up from Chris Kisby. So, mate, that's why we love having you in the booth, because you're so technical with everything that you say, and we appreciate it because it gives Zach and myself a little bit of breathing, and we don't have to do as much screaming down the mic. Triple Crown points, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get them up for you very, very quickly. We're running a little bit over time. We do apologise for that one. But, start of the Triple Crown, David Nash takes the top, Hayden Smith leading it there in second place, Jamie Davis in third. Simon Vella, Stephen Martin, Shane Clark, Jonathan Bain, Benny Soren, Cole Zink, Adam Moore. And Blair Van Reed, Daniel Schultz, Jason Schooler, Nathan Clive, Brian Good, Robert Braw, Scotty Short, Tony Gaffer, Mark Turner, Craig Casper for the unofficial results there for the DSL Welding Championship. Triple Crown, or should I say, the Scotty Barton, Justin Pennefather, Stephen Banks, Deb Miller, John Nikolaev, Alex Shaw, Thomas Foster, Will Yesberg, Robbie Bradbury, Peter Kelly. Joseph is a big field to get rattled off, boys. Bruce Panic, Gary Crittenden, Aaron Johnson, Anthony Bismuth, Darren Robb, Simon Farrington, Craig Curry, David Leslie, Troy, Aaron, and Darren Caldwell. And mind you, if we can just scroll back to that first page, please, JP, for a second, of the Triple Crown.
Because I think it's important.
We are missing a name there, I believe. Simon Vella is down in fourth.
Yeah, no. I'll pick this up here. I know what that'll be. It'll be clean races for Hayden Smith and Jamie Davis.
Ah, there we go.
That'll be what it is. And
There we
Simon
go.
Vella
So
with,
there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's the proof in the pickle. I mean, it is unofficial at the moment, but
so
the proof is in the pickle right there. You had Simon Vella finish up in second position for the first round of the the DSL Welding Triple Crown Championship. Yet Jamie Davis and Hayden Smith have both had clean races, and look at that, it prompts them up another 5 points, which is able to give them a nice buffer over Simon Vella. So that's going to promote clean driving and racing, and you also get a bonus 5 points for pole position. So David Nash obviously got the pole position on that one. Might not have had a clean race, but did get the pole position. So that's an extra 5 bonus points. All up is 10. And that was the deficit to Rainer Costello last season, unfortunately, to just 1 point. But, boys, Simon, Hayden, Dave, we'll let you wrap up with some sponsors, mate. We're running a little bit over time. We'll try and get finished up by 20 past 10, ladies and gentlemen. We'll try and finish up before the Super Series, guys. We know Zach likes to babble on quite a lot. So, Nashy, mate, we'll get you. You're the race winner. We'll get you to start us off, mate, and give some sponsor thanks. And we'll finish up with Vella and Smith.
Too easy. Right, some boys, great bunch of guys, and we're just bouncing off each other, getting quicker and quicker. So, JP, all the commentary guys, it's wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. SimShed Broadcasting, good year, Warana, and that's about it. Oh, actually, sorry, no, Bliss Homes. I can't forget that. He's sponsoring us some direct drive wheels, so I can't forget that.
Oh, there we go. Wow. How is that one for a little incentive?
Talk to me about that.
Hey, can I come join your team?
Yeah, we can. I think there's quite a few boys that are about to come over and jump onto the right sim racing squad over there. Simon Vella, mate, we'll get you to thank some sponsors over there, buddy.
Yeah, thanks to Fuchs Oils, KFC, and the Century Motorsport boys. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Mate, I just wanted to know, before we head off to Smithy there for another thanks for over the right, boys, how in the world have KFC sponsored you?
Oh, we got good links. Good links.
Well, mate, I hope there's a lot of bucket. I hope there's a lot of 24-piece bucket feeds.
Sorry, what was that, Kitty?
I said you got a fan in Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. Any KFC is a fan of mine.
That's it.
Smithy, mate, we'll get you to wrap it up for the right boys in third position there. And I'll wrap up this broadcast for everyone at home so we can get everybody off to bed before 10:30.
Sounds good. Yeah, so pretty much Nash, you're right. All the right boys were doing a lot of work in the background to get setups and that sort of, so it's awesome getting all that. And yeah, to all you boys and to JP as well for doing all the background setups, and geez.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that is round 2 of 12 for the RSRA, the Real Sim Racing Australia Super 2 E-Series, the first round for the DSL Welding Triple Crown Championship, brought to you from the East Coast of America in upstate New York at Watkins Glen, but not for the traditional stock car layout. We had the bootleg tonight. We had to throw in the big mix for the drivers, and it proved to be some amazing racing, that's for sure. Nashy taking away the win with an absolutely amazing restart. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Davis, Zach Cabin, Chris Kisby joining you by the podium, and JP. The boys are back in town on Wednesday Night Motorsport. We're going to be back on Tuesday Night Motorsport, ladies and gentlemen. But for the meantime, keep an eye out on the pages. Wait for us to come back live, and we'll see you next time. Good night.